Hey guys, welcome back to the Tiki Kev shop. I have questions coming to me all the time. So today, what we're going to do is I'm going to answer one of those questions. And believe it or not, the most asked question, and it's not how do you thatch your tiki bar, it's how do you get the rope to stick to the edge of the bar for your rope molding. So today I'm actually going to make a video. I'm going to give Eric the camera. I'm going to turn the view around so you can actually get to see me do it. And I'm going to get started on it. I'm going to explain how to do it, and then we're going to actually hyperlapse it, and then I'll finish up, and then I'll show you guys how to do the rope on the top. So here I'm going to turn the camera. So this is a bar top we're getting ready to do. This is actually going to Texas in the next week or two, and we're getting ready to rope the bar top. So I'm going to hand this over to Eric, and I'm going to explain to all of you guys how to put the rope onto the edge of the bar top. And just in case you were wondering, I'm going to give Eric the... say hi to Eric.
Hi,
guys.
Eric. How's it going?
Whoa. All right. Okay, so Eric's going to take that. So before I get into it, as a lot of you DIYers know, I wrote 3 books on how to build tiki bars and tiki huts and tables and stools and all that. So I'll put the link to that in the description. So if you want the book, you can follow the link and you can buy it on my website. So let's get started. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing you want to do is, I use 3/4 inch rope to rope the bar. We do 2 layers. We do a layer up top and then a layer underneath it. And then what we'll do is we'll take a 1/2 inch piece of rope, which I have sitting right here. And when that's up there, I'm going to explain all this to you guys. I'm going to show you guys how to attach that piece of rope in there. All right? So let's get started. So the first thing I do is I uncoil my rope. You can see how it comes out of the box there. And I just wrap it around the bar all the way to my starting point, which I'm left-handed, so I always go left to right. So what I do is, first thing I do is I start on the inside corner there. Now, what you really want to do is, you can see how the end of the rope, it will fray on you. So what we do is we take a scrap piece of rope, all right? And what you're going to do is you're going to cut that. Now you can do one of 2 things. You can use your knife if you have a sharp blade in it. You can cut right through it. Or we use these conduit pipe cutters. And this is great for going through, especially the bigger rope. It goes right through it. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tie these ends. So you're going to take your scrap piece of rope, you're going to unwind it. So this is a 1/2 inch piece, so it unwinds in 3 strands, and then you're going to unwind it again. And then you have another 3 strands. So what I'll do is I'll get a couple of them unwound, and that way I have them sitting here ready to go. And that'll pretty much be all you need. Alright, so to tie a knot in it, make sure that's curled over, just like that. Take this, I wrap it around twice and put a knot in it and pull that as tight as you can there, and there you go. So what you're going to do is you're going to, wherever your starting point is, you can start wherever you guys want. I don't know where Eric's going with the camera, but
I gotcha.
You guys can start wherever you want. So you can start from the left side, right side, just as long as you start in a corner is what I recommend. So how we attach it is a pneumatic staple gun. It's a real simple little gun, air-powered pneumatic. And for the 3/4 inch rope, we use 1.5 inch staples, because the 1.5 inch is going into the edge. So you can't go through the bottom or anything like that. It just goes straight in through the edge. So it's as simple as that. So what you're going to do, you're going to start this in the corner, and I always take my knot and I face it in. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold it slightly above the top of the bar top. That way, when you have your 1 inch rope, you can push it right into it, and it'll look just like that. So Eric's going to come around here. I'm going to show you guys how to staple this in. All right. And what you want to do, since you're a little past the top of the bar top, you want to stay a little low. So I go about halfway, and I angle it slightly down, not to shoot it through the bottom. And I just guide the rest of it with my finger, holding it slightly above the top. Now to make things go quick, what I do is I'll start off with a couple staples. I'll pull this as tight as I can. Get a couple staples in there. And what you want to do is when you get into an inside corner, you really want to push that in tight and get a couple staples in there. Okay, now that that corner's stapled, I'll pull it tight, come around the corner here, and when I go around the corner, I staple all the way around it. I don't leave any spaces. Okay, and then I'll pull this way, and I'll come around this corner. And then I'll pull tight again and hit this corner. All right, so that it's as simple as that. And then I'll just keep working my way around. And then you could do it any way you want. If you want to staple it as you go, you can staple it as you go. It doesn't matter. But I find it easier this way. So now what I'll do is I'll come back. I'll just find out where I stapled last. Just come in, the rope's already in here. And I go every other. So if you see the groove here, I'll put a staple in here, skip one, put a staple in here, skip one, put a staple in there. And that way, this stuff is so strong, it will never come off. And all you have to do now is just make sure it stays slightly above the bar top. And that's how you do it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hyperlap this. I'm going to finish the first row and the second row, and then we're going to come back and I'll show you guys how to do the top half-inch rope. And then we'll hyperlapse that, and then I'm going to show you guys how to burn it to give it a really nice finish. So we're going to go to hyperlap right now. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed that hyperlapse. If I made it look easy, it's because I've been doing it for 23 years. Some of you guys, it's going to be tough to get a hang of it, but once you start it, you'll be fine. So now the first and second layer are done with the 3/4 inch rope. Now these bar tops are 1.5 inches, and by holding this top course up a little higher than the bar top, the second course goes on nice and smooth. And the way I still use the 1.5 inch staples on the bottom course, but instead of doing a slight angle down like you do the top, you can either go straight in, or what I do is I do a very slight angle up. That way it doesn't come out the bottom. So now I'm going to show you how to do the 1/2 inch, which will go on top like so. And this is why you hold up that first row so this could butt right into it. So basically you're going to do the same thing. You're going to tie your end. And again, I go around twice. And get that as tight as you can. And what I do is I come over here where I started with the 3/4 inch rope. And I'm going to start the 1/2 inch in the same spot. And what you want to do though, you want to switch out your staples. Alright? Even though the bar top's 1.5 inches, and this is 1/2 inch, that gives you 2 inches. This is only 1/2 inch. So what I do, I use 1 inch staples. You can use 1 1/4, and you could use 1 1/2 if you have a 1.5 inch thick bar top. But there's no sense in wasting the more expensive staples. You don't need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to match the end of this to the end of this return right here. And you're going to come in, you're going to hold it nice and tight up against the rope. You're going to do an angle towards the bar top. And get that knot, staple that knot in real good. And then what I do is as I go, I twist. And when I twist, it really tightens up the rope. So as I'm pulling this, I'm twisting as I staple it. And what I do is I take the 1/2 inch and I push it up on the 3/4. And I let the staple gun push it down to the bar top. Like so. And if you notice, I'm twisting as I go. And I'm holding it up a little bit. And it's pushing onto the bar top. That way you have no gap between the 3/4 and the 1 inch. And you're going to do it exactly the same. You could staple it as you go if you want. Or what I always do is I pull to each corner and I'm twisting as I go. And I go around and then I come back and back staple it. It makes it a lot quicker. So at this point we're going to hyperlapse this again. This will go real quick because there's only one row. And actually those 2 rows only took me about 25 minutes. And yes, I've been doing it for 23 years. That's why I could go so quick. And if you look, I also did 3/4 inch around the poles as well. Now, most of my bars have round poles. These have square, and there was a reason for that. But same with the round poles. I just put a 3/4 inch around, and it covers the hole you cut out to slide the bar top down. All right, on the hyperlapse. All right, guys, that time lapse is done. I've never worked so fast in my life. That's what happens when I drink all this coffee in the morning. I was cruising there. But you can see how all the rope is done now. So it's actually pretty easy. You just need to know the right tools and the right fasteners. Now, the one complaint I always get, and it's usually by women because their skin is a little softer than most men. There's some of you feminine men out there, you got soft skin too. So what happens is, because we use the natural hemp, it's manila rope. If you, or I don't know if Eric can zoom in, you can see this, but there's a lot of frays up here. It's all over. And the people with sensitive arms, when they're sitting at the bar, it tends to irritate them. Now, for most guys, it doesn't bother us at all. But like I said, women have more sensitive skin, and that kind of irritates them. So what I recommend you do, and I do this on every single bar, is I torch the rope. And what it does is it burns all those frays off, and it actually tightens the rope up a little bit. It gives it a little darker color. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and then we're going to time lapse it again. and then I'll have another simple message for you at the end of that, and then that'll wrap up the video. So I use propane, and what you want to do is just come in here, and no, you're not going to burn your bar down. So what I do is I get underneath first, just run the torch underneath like that, and you can see how they're all burning off. And I'll just come back, get the front, get the top front, and then for the inside, what I do is when I'm across from the inside, I'll just come across here and I'll just burn it. Don't hold it in one spot. You want to keep it moving. And if you miss anything, you just go back real quick and get it. You want to do the rope around the poles, right? And yesterday I stained this. Now, if you stain the bar top and do the rope and torch it right away, the oil's in the bar top, it will catch fire, and it's done. You just blow it out. It's no big deal, and it doesn't even singe the wood. It's basically just burning the oil from the stain. So I'm going to finish this. We're going to time lapse this again. This doesn't take very long. It's going to be a really short time lapse, and then I'll have a message for you guys when I'm done. So on to the time lapse. All right, guys, I am back. We are done burning the rope. Now, I know you probably have a couple questions. One of them being, doesn't it leave a black residue? Yes, absolutely it does. So if you rub your hand on it, you can see that, right? But it's time to seal the bar now. Now, the bar itself has already been sealed, but it's time to do the bar top. And when you seal the bar top, you're going to seal the rope, and it seals all that in. So you don't have to worry about cleaning it or anything like that. But if you look at it now, everything looks super clean. And it looks nice and tight. And once it's sealed, it's going to look really, really good. And you'll never have any issues with your rope ever again coming off. So I hope that was informative for you guys. If you have any questions, please send me your questions. I love all your comments. I'm here to help if you need anything. So the only last thing is, again, for all you DIYers, if anybody wants to buy one of my books on how to do it yourself, most people use my books as a guide. They don't necessarily build what's in there, and it's not blueprints. I actually go over step by step on how to build these bars. So I will have that link in my post in the description, and if you guys have any questions, give me a shout. All right, from the Tiki Kev shop and Eric behind the camera.
Adios.
Tiki Kev out.